Hello everyone, Watermelons11 here, and today I'm going to be ranking all of my videos from worst to best. You may be thinking, wait, didn't you already do this? Yes, but I made many more videos since then, and I feel like this video is long overdue a sequel. I'll once again be using the state-of-the-art tier list to measure a video's quality, with S tier being the best and F tier being the worst. Without further ado, let's get into ranking. Wait, hold on! We already ranked the first 19 videos in the previous ranking video, and I feel like it would be a bit redundant to go over them again. Instead, I'll rapidly re-go over them one by one in a quickfire round. Let's recap where the first 19 videos on my channel placed. An absolute classic. Boring gameplay of an easy level. Same as before but with overused jokes. Fail at the same jump for 6 minutes straight while having a cold, but it's still a classic. The most boring and nothing video ever. Well put together and actually funny. Somewhat charming plot has some good moments. The start is okay, but after that is boring filler that's lazily produced. A mix of 1 and 2. A lot of filler, but there's still some charm and funny moments. Unoriginal and bad. It's fine, I guess. 2 seconds of mediocre animation. A surprisingly great video with some of the charm from the earlier videos, stretched out for 18 minutes. Just to show I cheated here. 3 seconds of this. Dumb idea with decent execution. But it uses copyrighted music. First composition on the channel, and it's alright. I don't really like this one. Aside from a few funny visuals, there's nothing really worth of note. I have no idea what I was thinking when I made this, and I have no idea why it actually sounds good. And there we go, we're all caught up with the original. Let's move on to the actual rankings now. Kicking off the newer videos, we have the previous ranking video, sitting at 379 views. This video has been my channel trailer ever since it was uploaded, since it gives my overall thoughts on all the videos I made up to that point, and the channel as a whole. I think that it's a pretty good insight to what I think about the content I make, and therefore it's a very interesting video to watch. And hey, it must be a good concept if I'm making a sequel to it. I think the best part of this video is the review of T-Show 2, because I pretty much go on a rant about everything wrong with it, and it's actually pretty funny. I also like all the clips that keep popping up from the Getting Over It videos, like
I hope the devil doesn't mind me climbing up his chimney though.
And
Pericolo de Caduta.
As a testament to how weird and amazing those 2018 videos were. One negative about this video is that for the second half, you can tell I got a lot more tired, because I recorded those lines at night on a separate day from the first half. Not to mention the second half included videos that are only a few seconds long, and so there's barely anything to talk about. Like, a video like this, what was I even supposed to say? Also, you can tell that I went through a rhythm heaven phase while making it, because, I mean, most of the songs that I use as background music are from the franchise. I'm just glad they're not copyrighted. I think. Whatever, it's still a good overview of my channel from 2018 to 2021. So I think that gets it... hold on, let me just get my tier list out. A tier. So it looks like we're still in the era of videos that are less than 15 seconds long. This video, which is 1,133 views, is a sketch about Bee Swarm Simulator, where a man with an obnoxious voice purchases 100 billion honeys worth of royal jellies to try and get a gifted mythic. I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking when I made this, but it's certainly interesting. One of my favourite things about this video, though, has nothing to do with the content, it's the comments. There's this one person trying to debunk the video and admittedly finding a mistake that I made. I'm not exactly sure how long they spent trying to find it, but, you know, good for them, very observant. Honestly, I think we should just move on. This video is just a big load of nothing, really. The description may say S tier, but I think high D tier. Huh? Who is that?
I am going to get that gifted mythic even if it kills me!
I've got plums. I've got plums.
Another pretty weird one, Muzzy's Peculiarly Picky Plum Parade. The YTP had the first episode in an obscure children's education show, Muzzy in Gondoland, that sits at 234 views. The first and only YouTube poop on the channel, and the final video to be edited in Cyberlink Power Director before moving to Shotcut, is actually good? I mean, it's consistently funny throughout, like Rude Buster playing in a different way every time a character starts moving quickly, the King's plum obsession, Bob the Gardener driving his bike off a cliff. Bob running into a burning building and later turning up as a pile of ashes, this man getting endless food thrown at him and later exploding, and callbacks' legendary. There's a few weird references here and there that don't make too much sense, but hey, I still think this video could have been really bad, but it turned out surprisingly well. If I'm being honest, I think it's another A tier. Finally a longer video, and what a video it is! As the name implies, this video is a sequel to the survival experience that scored a B tier on the tier list. This is the first appearance of the egg fried rice world, so I couldn't really go back to the prawn crackers one because I think this video as a whole is much better than the original, because I had a set clear goal that was less generic than kill the end dragon. I really like the concept of collecting all the animals, which was a suggestion on the original video. Tracking them all down one by one and ticking them off the list makes for some good pacing throughout and a satisfying watch. There are some great moments in the video too, like the creeper destroying all my stuff at the start, the rabbits that keep dying, and the really problematic fox that I even composed a piece of music for. I originally planned to use the Benny Hill theme in that scene, but I wasn't sure if it was copyrighted or not, so I decided to play it safe and just compose a new piece to use. The best joke of the entire video came accidentally, which was that dolphins despawn naturally. When I first discovered this on accident, I was originally going to cut it out and use a different aquatic animal instead, but once I saw that sea pickles were classified as an animal, I knew that it was too good of a joke to throw away. Some smaller aspects of the video, like the layout of the zoo, I really enjoyed too. Each section having a similar theme to it, and the building all being symmetrical are nice touches that I appreciate. Also, for all the structures you see me build in the survival experience series, except for part 1, were all pre-planned and built in a creative world beforehand. The name of the whole video is also just golden. Best pun I've ever made. It's hard to find fault with this video. It's a great continuation from the first part, and one of the videos that I had the most fun working on. For that, I think it's another A tier. Wow, I feel like I'm being quite generous here. Oh well, moving on. Oh hey look, more TSE. Quite a big gap between the two parts. The Survival Experience 3 has slightly less views at 261. This video carries on from TSE 2 naturally, and the aim of it is to build a washing machine as a house, as well as tropical fish statues. Because of this, the video is kinda just that. Building. And more building. Not to say it's boring or anything, but not much really happens other than, well, building. I even outright admit at one point the only reason I'm going mining is for filler purposes. There are still some good moments, however, like the running gag with the pillagers invading every 5 seconds, my list of regrets, and me accidentally hitting the wandering trader resulting in bodyguard llama. Even the boring stuff has a purpose, like the washing machine is my official house and the storage fish operate as a storage system. But you gotta love how I completely missed the point of the tropical fish suggestion, and instead of doing what they asked, I just built 3 statues that don't even do what the commenter suggested. The Survival Experience 3 plays it safe. It's the shortest out of the 3 parts, the least stuff going on. But it serves a purpose and I can respect that. On the tier list, I think I'll give it a B tier, behind the first TSE. It may be the least good on the series, but I can't fault it that much. The Survival Experience is probably my favourite series on the channel, and this episode doesn't bring it down too much. But now, it's time for a bit of a switch up content-wise. Watch out, these view counts are gonna get crazy. Here we have it, the first My Singing Monsters video on... Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it's the second My Singing Monsters... alright. The third My Singing Monsters video on the channel, but more importantly, the first fan-made island I made. Unlike the islands to come, this one follows more of a traditional approach, having it be a fire island based off the original game, with the monsters being chosen through breeding combinations. This video has the highest view count so far, at 5,322 views. I'll be honest here. I sort of regret making this video, and that's because of one thing, the vocals. I originally sampled the in-game monster sounds to make the vocals, but it sounded really bad. Naturally, I proceeded to fix it by making them debatably worse, because I did them myself. If you look past the ear-grating vocals, you get a decent song that's pretty catchy. This video really gave me a taste for what MSM content could do, and definitely helped pave the way for the next islands. I think that this video gets a high C tier, middle of the road. Oh, wait, there's not enough room in the tier list. Hold on. Perfect. We need more monsters here. Oh, okay. I'm sorry you feel that way, Selena. Anyway, moving on.
Shush.
Alright, I'm trying.
Excuse
me.
Oh, why did we have to bring him?
Hold on, is this thing on?
Hi guys, we're here to do a review on a video regarding our show. It's what was left of TSE Show 4.
Hey, are these his notes?
Oh, it looks like it. Right then, what do we have here? Okay. It says that what was left of TSE Show 4 has 148 views, and explains why TSE Show was discontinued. What? Discontinued? Did we get cancelled or something?
Existy, I told you, you can't say that kind of stuff anymore. Wait, you didn't know? I thought everyone knew it got cancelled.
No!
Anyway, the thumbnail is really edgy, but the content of the video is good, and gives some closure to people who were wondering what happened to TSE Show 4.
I'll say.
There are some fun visual gags present in the video, and a fully original composition that was made for it too. Overall, the video gets a C tier.
What, a C tier? Is that all we're worth? Apparently.
Wait, I think I hear him coming back. Hide! Time to record the... Oh, it's done. I must have already done it earlier and forgotten. Oh well. Right, what's next? This one's gonna be good. Transcendent Island is the first of my true fan-made island series, and has 22,313 views. After Fire Plantation's less than stellar vocals, I wanted to redeem myself and make a fan-made island that was actually good to listen to. Instead of making a fan-made island that was based off breeding combos, I selected 15 monsters, spreading across pretty much every category. I'll be honest, this wasn't even originally supposed to be a My Seeing Monsters thing, or even a video at that matter. I was just composing one day when I created a cello part and a double bass part, and when I heard them together I thought of the monsters Bogart and Bowhead. After that I kept adding other instruments that fit with monsters, and before I knew it I was making a fan-made island. As for the actual song itself, wow. For the first actual island, it's amazing. Probably one of the best compositions I've ever made. My inspiration for the song was the piece Your Contract Has Expired from the game A Hat in Time. I mean, they sound nothing alike, so it's pretty obvious that I went a bit on a tangent after the first two monsters, but I think that it was for the best. I just love how grand it feels in the main part, and all the way the different melodies come together is so harmonious and great. The build-up section beforehand that's surprisingly peaceful makes a good contrast between the two parts, and Krillby adding in the extra melody that apparently made someone ascend according to the comment is just perfect. The 15th monster was probably the hardest to make. I couldn't really find anything that fit the song and could contribute all too much. I tried monsters like Dromedary, Spytrap, Tuskski, and more, but nothing ever seemed to fit in. I eventually chose Pluckbill, which is why it doesn't really do much in the song. If you're wondering why I skipped the individual sounds video in this list, well, I mean, you can't really rank it, and it's just easier to lump it in with the full song. I'll be doing this for all of the islands. Anyway, overall, Transcendent Island in my opinion is phenomenal, and I'm shocked that this is what I got after my first attempt at something like this. You know what? I think I'm gonna do it. Transcendent Island gets an S tier. Four more monsters. Oh, it's you again. Look, I could barely get 15 monsters. I don't know if I could manage 19. Oh, Pixel Island. What would we do without you? Pixel Island has, wait for it, 92,769 views. That's just ridiculous, that's too many views. I still have no idea how this and Transcendent Island got so many views, especially since I didn't even have 100 subscribers at the time. But I'm really grateful that I happened to get so lucky with the algorithm, so that my music was pushed out to so many people. But enough of that. How's the video? Pixel Island, like its predecessor, is really, really good. Although, it's like the complete opposite in tone from Transcendent Island, being a playful synth-based song. Pixelotl is the star of the show here. Its short melody is catchy and fun, and it gives the island its name. I also really enjoy Vamp here. Someone put that it was sounding like it came from an indie horror game, but its accompaniment to Pixelotl meshes really well together and sounds great. And the duet between Reedling and Pixelotl is great too. There's just so much to talk about here. But more interestingly, I do actually have a really old beta version of Pixel Island that I found when searching through my files. It only contains Pixelotl, Ziggurat, and Hyehaha, who was originally supposed to appear, but it was replaced with Gloptic in the final product. Here is the beta version of Pixel Island when I first started composing. After that, I also found a newer prototype version with a different vamp melody. It's really cool looking back and seeing older versions of things. Unfortunately, this is the only island that I have these forgotten beta versions to. I also found a video on TikTok ranking all the monsters from worst to best, which is amazing. This is the first time that someone had reacted or done something with my content, and it's really cool to see. But the thing I find the most interesting about Pixel Island is that it was uploaded only 9 days after Transcendent Island, which is just crazy. It only took 9 days to achieve 90,000 views. I'm not sure how I pulled that one off. Now, I think it's pretty obvious where this video will place on the tier list, and it's not just because I got over 500 subscribers from it. That's right, Pixel Island is another S tier. Who could have seen that one coming? 5 more. What, you want 5 more monsters now? Third island in a row once again changes up the genre of music, being the only island I've made that's entirely in a major key. With slightly less views than the last 2 juggernauts, having 6,434, it goes for a much more peaceful vibe than them. Another thing that Spring Island does differently is its 3/4 time signature, truly a pioneer of change. This song is just nice. I like the duet between Fiddle and Tiawa and how they have a call and response section, and the heavenly fiddlement sound that overlays it. Speaking of fiddlement, this is the first time I had to use MuseScore to compose a sound. While Soundtrap is great and all, its sound selection isn't the best. Luckily, MuseScore, a site that works like traditional sheet music, had an Erhu sound, which was lucky. I go on to use MuseScore for any other sounds that Soundtrap didn't have. I also like how everything comes together at the last chorus, making for a grand yet still peaceful ending. Because of Tring's triangle sound coming in every now and again, it meant I had to keep fading him in and out over and over again. Couple that with Dragong, and that all just makes it a real drag to stitch together. At least most of it turned out well. There's only a few early fades, but other than that it's not noticeable. One thing I'm not the biggest fan of song-wise is that some monster tracks go on for a bit too long, like Blossoms, and some monsters seem a bit like padding to reach the 15 monster mark, like Kongal and Shrub sounds. But it's hard to hate on this island. It's nice and laid back, perfect for spring, and I think that earns it a solid B tier, on the higher end of the scale too. 3 more monsters. No! The 4th MSM island just so happens to be the weakest one. Jazz Island has 3,708 views, and is just sort of bland. Not saying it's bad or anything, it's just kind of mediocre. Start with the positives. Each monster was used quite well, and you could easily tell who was playing when. The Quibble section is pretty catchy, and I'm proud of how I managed to replicate Syncopite sound similar to how it is in the actual game, and Pummel is used as a transition is nice as well. At least you can actually hear him in this song. The problem that I have with it is that it's just not very jazzy. It has a bit of swing and it uses jazz instruments, when you hear it, it just doesn't live up to the name. It could also do with being a bit faster tempo-wise, since I think in its current state, it's a bit too slow for my liking. There's also just a random guitar solo in the middle. I mean, it's kind of unexpected, but the theme is jazz. I guess it could represent improvisation, but I don't know, it could have been any other instrument. It again suffers a similar problem to Spring Island, with the tracks going on for a bit too long. And these ones are even longer! One last small thing that I have to complain about is the placement of the monsters in the video. For the other 4 or 5 islands, they're all in a nice position and their sizes are consistent, but with Jazz Island, something just feels off. Why are Giga and Riff so small? Why is Bulba opposite Tiawa? I guess I shouldn't be too focused on these small details and nitpicking on the song, but I feel like this one could have turned out so much better considering the theme was jazz. So, where does that put that on a tier list? Despite my complaining, I don't think it's that bad overall, so I think a low B tier is good enough. Above average, that's still good, right? 2 more monsters. Oh, look! A break from all that My Singing Monsters content. And a welcome surprise too, the newest and latest episode of the Survival Experience, sitting at 253 views. Since I used all of the suggestions up in part 2, and part 3 had 0 suggestions, I had to look back to the very first part to find a comment to use. Luckily, like the zoo, this comment resulted in a really fun and great video, which makes up for the somewhat lackluster part 3. The plot and overall goal of part 4 was to collect a bunch of villagers and trade with them to make emerald profits. My favourite part of TSE 4 has to be the different personalities the villagers have. Despite Harold, Bartholomew, Jiminy and the rest being basic villager NPCs, I'm glad that each one got a subtle personality and a portion of the video dedicated to them. I love that Jiminy is just obsessed with staring at a chimney for the entire video every time I visited the village, and I also like Bert's tragic death, followed up by Bort's even sadder death. And that brings me to my next point. Eugene is a menace, but honestly one of the funniest parts of the episode. He murdered Bort for literally no reason, resulting in me taking him to court at the end. Also, what was up with Bort's death? In the video I just summed it up to be Eugene's fault as a joke, but what actually happened? I don't think villagers could kill mobs, and Bort was sat in the boat the whole time. The footage shows that he's clearly alive before, but when I return from the storage fishies minutes later, he's dead, and there's just pork chops in his place instead. If anyone knows what happened to Bort, please let me know in the comments, because I'm genuinely confused about it. But it's still funny to think that Eugene's responsible for it. Part 4 of the survival experience really reminds me of part 2, in the sense that I'm collecting several entities and checking them off a list, which makes the video seem more structured and have better pacing. It's arguably better than episode 2 because of the extra humour and character, plus the nether sequences that pop up every now and again throughout. Don't worry, I'll get to them in a bit. But to sum it all up, TSE 4 is a great addition to the survival experience, and if I'm being honest, it might end up being the final part of the series. There's only one available suggestion left to use, which is just a short building comment, so if there aren't any more suggestions, I might have to cancel the series. I didn't mean to end the review on a low note. Hiatus! Woo! Well, if it isn't more TSE 4. Another music related video, but it has nothing to do with MSM. The reason why I briefly covered the nether montages in the previous review is because I'm counting this as a separate video. Inferno has 101 views, and covers what I like to call Skill Issue, the montage, where I die like 1,000,000 times in search for a single blaze rod. It's a good song and represents the nether pretty well, and I like how it gets more dramatic as the piece goes on, plus the remix at the end is a nice touch. Since there were several montages, I used a different part of the song for each, and if it ended, I just loop it and pitch it up a semitone to really build up the intenseness of the segment. In reality, I probably should have just made some armour, but I'm glad this ended up existing. I think this gets a high B tier. It's a pretty nice listen. There's probably enough room left in B tier. Let me just squeeze it in there. Oh. Good enough. Not long to go now. Mechanical Island has 2,559 views, and is a step in the right direction for the fan-made island series. After the more experimental approach of Spring and Jazz, I decided to make something more similar to Pixel Island. This means a lot of synth sounds were used. I really like Mechanical Island. I don't know why, but I always get the vibes of an 80s exercise video from it. Pogue's solo at the middle of the song I think is really well put together and catchy, and the percussion during the whole song meshes really well with each other too. I like the little call and response with Stog and Fleetrum in the chorus, as well as Weasel acting like a transition. Quite a few monsters were made in MuseScore this time too, like Bloat, Astropod and Pogue. Pogue and Bloat were spot on sound-wise, but for Astropod I'm not sure what was going on with its track. It sounds like it's drowning in a way, so I feel like I could have done that sound better. This island also had an inspiration behind it, and it was the song Vidiots from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory the Musical. I bet you didn't see that one coming at all. A cool fun fact about this island is that there were 2 scrapped versions of it that I didn't end up using. They're pretty different to what it ended up sounding like. I'll play some small snippets of them now. Interestingly, the first iteration was supposed to have Wubbox as one as the 15 monsters, while the second had Flugel as the main melody, as well as a digital organ Poke. They were both scrapped since I didn't really like the direction they were going in, and they sounded somewhat generic. But yeah, I think Mechanical Island is really underrated. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I think that it deserves an A tier. Hashtag get more people to know about Mechanical Island, I'm sure that'll catch on. For more. We've reached the final video. We're at the end. Intranox Island will be grouped together as the 15 individual track videos, the full song and the behind the scenes video. The full song has 795 views, and when you add all 17 videos in the collection together, you get 5,031. But really, what is there to talk about with Intranox Island that hasn't already been said in the behind the scenes video? If you want to hear my overall thoughts on this island and all the monsters individually, then go and watch that. But to summarise, I wanted to create an all-original cast of monsters on an all-original island that had the concept of the song constantly switching between major and minor, using a different set of monsters for each. As stated in the behind the scenes video, this was the most enjoyment I've had whilst making a video, and despite it not getting that many views, I'm still really proud of the way it turned out. Now that begs the question, does it belong in S tier or not? You know what? I'm gonna be controversial and say that it goes above both Pixel and Transcendent Island.
Oh, that's a video you can tell down your fan base.
Whatever, it's my tier list. But we're finished. Every video has now been ranked. Selena? What? No Selena comment? Aw, I wonder how many more monsters they would have wanted on this island. Well, take your pick. Only time will tell. Now that we're all wrapped up with the tier list, I think we should go over my top 10 best and top 10 worst videos. I'll start with the top 10 worst. At number 10 we have Back on Track. Number 9 is The Flying Lamborghini. Number 8 is Kabaluga vs Gothic Matama. Number 7 is I Got Lookaby. Number 6 is Bippus Evolves. Number 5 is the weird Mesho Death Dragon video thing. Number 4 is 31.exe. Number 3 is I Exist. Number 2 is T-Show Episode 2. And the number 1 worst video on my channel is Teeth Short Soup. And now, for more positivity, it's time for the top 10 best videos on my channel. At number 10 we have Spring Island. Number 9 we have the original tier list video. Number 8 is surprisingly the Muzzy video. Number 7 is Mechanical Island. Number 6 is 3am videos in a nutshell. Number 5 is the Survival Experience 2. Number 4 is the Survival Experience 4. Number 3 is Transcendent Island. Number 2 is Pixel Island. And if you forgot what number 1 was already, then I'd be kinda worried for you. But to remind you, the best video on my channel, in my opinion, is Intranox Island. Thank you for watching this video. This one was really fun to make, especially looking back at older videos and seeing how much has changed since then. Thank you for all the views and attention my channel got last year, making surpass not just 100 subscribers, but also 500 too. I'm really grateful for all the nice comments and support I received as well. With all that said, make sure to like and subscribe and whatever else there is, and I hope to see you in the next video, whenever that'll be. Anyway, that's it from me, bye!